we'll give it 30 seconds. I'm told it take 30 seconds for it to actually go live. Uh, uh, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing our introduction to Bhagavad Gita by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We're picking up from Atmananda Prabhu. Yesterday he was speaking. What is the consciousness that I am? Then what am I? And we think in different ways. I am the enjoyer, and I am the Lord of all I survey. How amazing that is. We're thinking in that way. So that's the power of the material energy. Two psychic divisions of the material consciousness, that I am the creator, and the other is that I am the enjoyer. But actually the Supreme Lord is both the creator and the enjoyer. And the living entity, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is neither the creator nor the enjoyer, but a cooperator. You have to cooperate. Prabhupada did say that if we can learn to cooperate, that would be very, very important. You can show our love for Srila Prabhupada and our ability to be able to cooperate and not simply focus on the misconception that I am the creator and the enjoyer of the material world. And Prabhupada in that, or Atmananda Prabhu speaking from Srila Prabhupada's purport, the examples that were given, that the stomach is the principal factor that nourishes the body's organization. If we feed the stomach, then everything in the body will be nourished. Similarly, as the root of a tree, if we give water to the root of the tree, then all the twigs, branches, and flowers will flourish. So that makes a lot of sense. And as we ponder our own position in this material world, if we look at it very analytically, very carefully, we'll find that we have no independence, or not, should I say, no independence, but very little independence. We are very much dependent on the Supreme. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. There are many living entities. One supreme living being is maintaining all the other dependent living beings. And that's the way it is. That's the identity of the living entity, and that is the creation of the Supreme Lord. We are the manifestation of his limited potency. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and the definition of unlimited means that there must be something limited. So we are that. You think, oh, but I want it to be bigger than that. I want it to be the supreme entity. And there we have our problem. But we are the display of Krishna's limited potency. And the wonderful thing is about the Supreme Person is that everything is complete. So it's complete. So even those little living entities, although they're very small, are complete little units. And they have the perfection if they place themselves in the proper place, just like the little screw of the machine. If it's placed properly, it's perfect in its position and its function. Although it's very small, it has a significant contribution to make. So the living entity has that. And that significant contribution is to offer loving devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then it's said here, just at the end of what Atmananda covered yesterday, was if the master is fully satisfied, then the servant is satisfied. Similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied. Although the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy the material world are there also in the living entities. So that's our tendency there. Okay, so we're going to continue on from there. Srila Prabhupada speaking, purport. or should we say, continuing introduction. We shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita that the complete whole is comprised of the Supreme Controller. So that's one factor, aspect of the complete whole. So there's the Supreme Controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestation, eternal time, and karma, or activities. And all of these are explained in this text. That's the Bhagavad Gita. All of these taken completely form the complete whole. And the complete whole is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. The complete whole and the complete Absolute Truth are the complete personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Manifestations are due to his different energies. He is the complete whole. Krishna says, Mata para tarannanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutri mani gana iva. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung upon a thread. So the pearls are strung upon a thread. So Krishna is the thread upon which the cosmic manifestation is supported. The living entities are supported, eternal time, the cosmic manifestation, and the actions, the activities of the living entities, all of that is supported by the Supreme Lord. Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kunteya jagad viparivartate. Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita says that this material nature is working under my direction, and it is producing all moving and non-moving beings, and it is created and annihilated again and again. So it's not working independently. We've discussed that the material nature is not working independently. There's Mother Nature, and Krishna is the seed-giving Father, and he impregnates the material nature by his glance, and all the living entities become manifest. Our experience is that there has to be a male and female, and then everything is manifest due to the placing of the seed of the male in the womb of the female. Then everything becomes manifest. So this is the way of the living beings, their creation, their creative power. The Supreme Lord's creative power is massive, is absolutely, cosmic. So he does it simply by his glance. Simply by glancing, the material nature becomes agitated and then stimulated into manifesting one after the other all the elements of the material manifestation. That is explained very nicely by Lord Kapila in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how all the different elements are manifested gradually, one after the other, one after the other. So all of these factors then constitute the complete whole, and the complete whole, Prabhupada says, is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. And the complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So that is not easy to understand. Jiva Goswami explains that one has to accept the conceivable potencies of the Supreme Lord to have any possibility of having some understanding of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he must possess inconceivable potencies, lies beyond the speculative purview of our tiny little brains. So we have to realize many things. So first, we're not the absolute truth. We're not the controller, but we're controlled. We're not the enjoyer, but we're to be enjoyed, to give pleasure. So it's a bit of a shake-up, but the way it's seen in material life, that I am the enjoyer, I am the controller, and then you have trillions and zillions of little living entities all wanting to do that, Therefore, we find something called the struggle for existence, the hard struggle for material world, survival of the fittest. And Srila Prabhupada explains that no one survives. It's the struggle for survival in the material world, but no one. The one of the elements, the eternal time element, sweeps in and pushes us on again and again. So that supreme absolute truth, the complete whole, is that absolute truth is the complete personality of Godhead. So the Lord is a personality who has unlimited potencies. Parasha Shakti Dividhaiva Shruyate. He has unlimited potencies. We have very small potencies. So therefore, when we speculate about the Supreme, our speculations are so limited. Dr. Frog, is it bigger than my well? 2 times, 10 times, 20 times. In this way, with our very finite, very tiny speculative, we try to understand. And then we say, oh, no, there can't be a person. A person. How is it possible? And it's impossible from our perspective. But from the perspective of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the complete whole, the absolute truth, it is possible. Vedanti tattva vidas tattvam yajganamadvayam brahmati paramatmati bhagavanati subjate. Learned transcendentalists who know this absolute truth realize it in 3 phases as Brahman, the all-pervasive energy of the Lord, the Paramatma, super soul feature, the yogis are able to connect in that way through meditation, and Bhagavan, that although, this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, it says that although the Supreme is manifest in everything through his diverse energies and his manifestations of those different energies, both gross and subtle, the Bhumi Rapo and Alo Vayu, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the ether, the mind, the intelligence, then the false ego, the ahankara. So all these energies are working in that way. Pardon me. But although he's diversely manifest in that way, he is not reduced at all, and he remains the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So he simultaneously has the ability and the potency to distribute himself through his energies all over the cosmic manifestations, unlimited universes in the material world, what to speak of the spiritual realm, which is the Tripad Vibhuti of the 3 quarters, to give some kind of calculation for us to have some idea. This material world is described as Ekapada Bhuti, 1/4 of the material of the whole cosmic, the whole energy of the Lord, and 3/4 is manifesting the spiritual realm, all the Vaikuntha lokas and all those divine places. So the Lord is able then to be there in every part of his manifestation in the material world, and he is also there as the super soul, accompanying all living entities, every living entity, and whatever species of life the living entity enters, the Lord is there. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam, he is the friend, the well-wishing friend, and the accompanier of the living entity. He doesn't leave the living entity alone. Otherwise, the living entity cannot exist. The Lord is there accompanying. I'm seated in everyone's heart, Krishna says later in Bhagavad Gita. And I'm directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine, Yantra Rudhani Mayaya, which is made of the material nature. So all of us are placed in these machines. It's a, what do they call it? Bio, technical, I don't quite get the right word. But yeah, it is an amazing manifestation, these machines, and the illusory power of the ability of Maya to think, to allow the living entity to think in this terms that this is me, I am this machine that I have now. Although, if we look, we'll see that the hand, for example, is so many little devices that you pull as little levers, little ligaments, and little muscles, and all the parts of the machine work so wonderfully. And we speak and we see, and all the senses are there. What an amazing machine. And the special ability, this machine can repair itself, which is quite an amazing thing. Um, you give yourself some damage to your machine, and if you're lucky enough, or yeah, your karma dictates that you're lucky enough, then it can repair itself. And the amazing thing, they're trying to produce life, but to produce life that produces life itself again. That is another amazing manifestation of Krishna's energy, that he can create a machine, say, like, for example, we'll take the example, a human body or any of the different species, and those machines can create other machines. So, for example, if we take a watch and we look at the intricate creation of a small watch, or that's an old-fashioned machine these days, or any computer, um, it takes a lot of intellect, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of intelligence to do that, to create. But to create a machine that they can combine male and female and create another machine, that is really special. Um, so they practically, you can hardly stretch your brain to accommodate that concept, that there is such intelligence and such ability. But we see it everywhere. All the living entities are there, and they're creating again and again uh, more machines. Example of the banyan tree is there, which is amazing. Just from a small seed, you have a whole banyan tree, and inside the banyan tree, there are fruits, and inside the fruits, there are many, many millions of seeds. And again, it goes on, and inside each seed, it goes on and on like that. So, the supreme absolute truth is the complete personality, Sri Krishna. So he's everywhere and everything. He's accompanying the living entities, and he remains the complete supreme Bhagavan there in the spiritual realm and all the diversities of the Vaikuntha planets in Goloka Vrindavan. And he is not reduced in any way whatsoever. We'll continue. It is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of the absolute whole. So it's incomplete, it's a partial understanding of the absolute whole. And so, Prabhupada speaking, and so also is the conception of Paramatma. It is partial realization, but not complete. In the 15th chapter, it shall be, there's some plates, we'll go beyond if we can. It shall be seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushottama, the Supreme Purusha, the Uttama Purusha, is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the primeval cause of all causes. Govinda, Krishna, is the cause of all causes. So that's an interesting point that will be discussed further by Srila Prabhupada, but it comes to mind that everything and everyone has their cause. Um, for example, my father is the cause of my existence, so I have my father. And if I approach my father and ask, "Did you have a father? Are you the original cause?" And he will say, "No, I had my father, and his father had his father," and it goes on like that. And then Charles Darwin would have his belief that at some stage someone would say, "Well, actually, my father was a monkey or an ape." And then Charles Darwin's supporters would say, "Well, this happened over a long period of time, gradually. So it's not like that. That's such a gross idea that some human being would say, 'My father was a monkey.'" Um, oops, a little dog turned up. Yeah, so let us just get back to where I was. I got deviated. There's a little dog outside again. Yeah, so the cause of all causes. So um, without going too far into this, just Krishna is Sarvakarana Karanam, because people say that even. They say, how? Then God must have a cause. What's the cause of Krishna? But he is Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the primeval cause of all causes. There's no other cause beyond him. And people don't like that again. They think, "Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. You're using the example that everything has a cause, therefore them. So therefore God must have a cause too." And that's where the material intellect falls short to understand, to appreciate, to accept the idea that there is a cause of all causes, and he is transcendental to the material causation. Uh, he doesn't come under the rules that he has to have a cause. We do. We do. We have to have our source because we are not the source. But Krishna, or the Supreme, is not dictated to by that law of cause and effect. He is the primeval cause of all causes. Bas, as they would say. You don't have to go any further. You can't go any further. Hmm? And again, our little brain fuses, the little whatever parts in our brain is like, "Oh, but hold on, I can't, yeah, I don't know if I can accept that." But hey, guess what? Krishna is beyond your logic, and it's very logical at the same time. There must be a cause of all causes, the original primeval cause, that is Krishna. And that is explained by the Brahma Samhita. And that is the only way ultimately to understand the supreme absolute truth, is to accept the authority that is descending. That is the by the ascending process, by speculation and conjecture, extrapolation of whatever we find, and that we will never come in a million years to the supreme absolute truth. Krishna says, Atasri Krishna Namadi Nabavid Graham Indriyai Seven Mokihi Jiva Dos Vayameva Spuratjada. I cannot be understood by the blunt material senses. Uh, it's not possible to understand me, but I reveal myself to my devotees when I'm pleased with them for their transcendental loving service to me. So Krishna explains repeatedly that this is the process for knowing me. I want you to know me, but there's a process. There's some rules and regulations. There's some order. There's some in in this beautiful manifestation, there's order. And the living entities, if we examine, especially in the human form in this Kali Yuga, they bring great disorder to everything. They don't like to be controlled, and they're rebellious. And in that rebellion, we create chaos everywhere. We trash things very badly due to our not living a very cultured, refined, um, exalted type of life. We lead a very degraded life in the modern, especially in the modern time. Therefore, it gets more and more degraded as we go. So, um, the Lord is that primeval cause of all causes. We'll just continue slightly here with our Brahman. He is the primal cause, and he is the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The Lord is the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Wow. So he is the form of eternity. And again, we see that is what we all wish to experience. We don't want to die. It's natural to live, to be alive. You can't be anything else because if you if you're not alive, you're not being anything. It's very interesting, isn't it? To be alive, you can't be not alive because we are alive. We are eternal. Najayate mriyate vakarachim. So Krishna is that very form of eternity, and we as parts and parcels have that also. We are eternal. And knowledge, we our knowledge is covered. It's stifled and very reduced. But knowledge is our natural position to have knowledge. Therefore, we find the whole world is filled with questions and answers. We want knowledge always in all species of life. It's going on, questioning and answering, because that is our natural condition. A child, as it grows, doesn't stay dumb. The child inquires. They want, you see it at every moment. They're always asking, what is this? And what's that? And they're looking and they're trying to gain knowledge because knowledge is natural for them as living beings. And both of those combine as well, and bliss. So why do you want knowledge? And why do you want to live? Because you want to experience, you feel that it's natural to experience happiness, and that culminates in bliss. Bliss is a word which is not used very much because there's not a lot of quote unquote bliss around. We can hardly get a drop of happiness. We'll settle. And that's what happens. We settle for a drop. Just give me one drop of pleasure or happiness in this world. And that's the sad thing, that although we have the potential for eternal cognizance and bliss, we settle for temporary, ignorant uh, drop of so-called pleasure, which is not pleasure really. It's only a relief from the suffering. Temporarily, we get a little relief from the onslaught of the material nature, and we take it as happiness. And in this way, we become very miserly in our outlook of life. So Govinda is the cause of all causes. He is the primal cause, and he is the very form of eternity. And again, I would make the point, we also have that potential in a very small way to be eternal, to have knowledge, and that can be expanded up to 78% per se, according to Shastra. We can have knowledge and potency and bliss. And it's such good news to hear. When we hear about these aspects of our existence, it's tremendously inspiring, because it's not that inspiring to hear that you're going to die in 50 or 100 years, that life is full of difficulties and it's temporary. And it's not really good news, but we ignore it. We push on. The Bhagavatam says the living entity is very heroic. He pushes on against insurmountable odds in his pursuit of some pleasure. But he also is described as being like a animal. Human being is not meant to be an animal. Becomes captivated by the mirage in the desert, and thinking that there is water there, the animal chases after that mirage, and he goes further and further into that illusion and dies. There is no water there, but there is water, but it's not there. And the living entity in that way, if we simply go after material happiness and so-called pleasure, we we cheat ourselves of what we're actually born to experience, or we are supposed to experience as eternal living entities. So continuing, Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat, that eternity feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of Sat Chit, eternal knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is realization of all the transcendental features, that is, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss, in complete vigraha, or form. And all of this is explained in the transcendental Vaishnav literatures to help us more and more expand this understanding of the Sat Chit Ananda nature of the supreme, complete, absolute personality of Godhead, and our relationship with that supreme personality, or with the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Mm. Mm. I'll just have a time check actually to see how far I should go. What time? So half an hour. Okay. I think I'll, let's see. It's always intriguing as you read a little more. You think, oh yeah, that's nice. We'll read this last paragraph. People with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal. And Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, he says like that, avyaktam vyaktam apanam manyante mam abudhaya, with not intelligent. Those who are less intelligent consider that the supreme absolute truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all the Vedic literatures. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that himself. He says, unintelligent persons consider that I, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. So that is the Mayavad concept, that this impersonal energy, non-personal, absolute energy assumes a personality. How the goodness, this impersonal energy assumes a personality. It's so, again, we've discussed this many times, but it's so nonsensical, actually. So Krishna is saying that those with less intelligence consider that I, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before, but have now assumed this personality. They do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So it's not the fact, Krishna is saying. I am always the personality of Godhead. I have my impersonal energies. I am the energetic source of those energies. So Prabhupada says, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam, Kata Upanishad 2.13. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, so that is also there again in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that to Arjuna, that I'm trying to remember, can't remember the Sanskrit straight off, but I'm trying not. What is that? That all these kings that are assembled here, both you and I, we are all individuals. We are individuals now, speaking here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We were individuals in the past, and in the future we will continue to be individuals. So this individuality is very powerfully explained in Bhagavad Gita. The living entity, Krishna says that you're eternally my fragmental parts and parcels. verses are not coming, but that's okay. So, as we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the supreme absolute truth is also, in the ultimate issue, a person. And realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. And Srila Prabhupada does many times explain this, that as we are persons, the Supreme Lord is a person. Again, he is supreme. His energies are inconceivably wonderful. He's so much greater than we are, and we think that we can deny the Lord. We are persons. Oh boy. Anyway, let's not go there. The complete whole is not formless. Let Srila Prabhupada say it. He is, if he is formless, or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete. The complete whole, I'll read that again. The complete whole is not formless. And the Mayavads will say, no, we say he has form, but that's an assumed form, and his original, even you can't say it. I just said it, but it doesn't make any sense. In his original form, he's formless. That doesn't make any sense. It's senseless. So the complete whole is not formless. It's absolutely more sensible that the complete whole has his energies, which are impersonal, and he also has his form because he is a person. He doesn't assume a form, he is the personality of Godhead. If he is formless, or he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete. So I feel complete at that point, and I think I'm going to complete this short class and let the complete whole be explained a bit more completely in the next section, the next couple of paragraphs. Prabhupada continues on in this subject matter. So if anyone had any questions, we might have seen something. And, ouch. I tried this last time, but I didn't have a lot of success. I see there's a little dot up there, but I wonder if it's said. Oh, okay. Someone was just, yeah, I did manage to get through by pressing the button. Interesting. I wonder, there's so many buttons I could press here. I'm just going to give me a bit more training. We've managed to get me to be able to connect like this, but I need to get a little more training on all the different possibilities on this wonderful machinery that, yeah, is being used for Krishna's service. So all glories in that way. Someone's just got little pranams. Good to see that you're there, Mataji. Yeah, Krishna. Okay, so we're going to finish there. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to his sincere followers, and we look forward to hearing the next section. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Where do I press? End stream.